Growing Together being such a massively family-oriented pack, I wanted to make a big family and give them two loving homes. One for the main family and one set of grandparents who live with them, and one for the other set of grandparents for the family to visit. In this video, I'm gonna build the main home of the main family and the one set of grandparents. So meet the Hiltons, this is our family, this is their family tree, and we're gonna build them this home. During the build, you will see me place some empty picture frames and leave some walls blank. This is because they're supposed to be filled over the time with things the kids made or memories the family made. So, welcome to this video. I'm Natalie, your friendly neighborhood birdie, and let's get right into me building this. First of all, I changed the direction of the lot. The front of the lot is now the side of mine because I wanted them to have a backyard, not a side yard. I like that more for the family gameplay. And also, I wanted to have room, obviously, for a treehouse. Now here you see me try to figure out how to make the floor plan work for me. What I wanted was to have the grandparents live downstairs so they don't have to use the stairs if they don't want to, and also to be able to use the cool new windows that look like roofs. So I tried to make that work, and I dare I say I forced it to work because initially it was kind of rough. The windows, I underestimated their size, and yes, I could have checked before, but I didn't. And it was hard to make them fit the way I wanted to. So I had to try quite a few things out. In the end, I think I landed somewhere where I'm happy with. I wanted this home to be fairly modern and to still be cozy and comfortable. A lot of the time, I feel like modern builds lack a bit of that comfort, a bit of that coziness. So it was important to me to still have that while maintaining a modern style. I did that, for example, by using wooden colors, and also I believe the windows with the mimicked rooftop help with that because it's a playful shape and it's not as cold as modern builds sometimes feel. So I really, really, really wanted to incorporate them, and I think in the end I managed to organically incorporate them without it feeling too rough. I had a few problems with the new windows actually. Interestingly, because they let in too much light. I don't know if it's a problem with the windows or with the lot and the lighting on the lot, but especially in the infant's room, at times I couldn't see the wallpaper because it was an enormous white glare, even with no lights in this room. So that was a struggle at some points, but it was interesting and I managed. Here you see me add some wooden details. That's what I meant. It's supposed to be a bit warmer just simply by the use of different materials, and wood in itself is always kind of a warm material. I was very excited with the new tiles, so of course I had to immediately use them. And this is also one of the rare occasions where I'm building a very open floor plan. I'm, for coziness reasons, not the biggest fan of open floor plans, but with so many people in the family, this was gonna be a place with very, very many small closed off space unless I wanted to make the house giant. So I thought I wanted to have the downstairs floor plan relatively open to balance that out. Another thing I'm doing in this build that I don't normally do is something you see me do now. Usually I arrange my couches to be facing the wall because I find it quite uncomfortable to have the couch with a back into the room and people are always walking behind you. But I just found it was not working this time around. So in this one case, the couch is actually, or the back of the couch is actually facing inside the room, which I personally normally don't like. It's not my thing to have people walk behind my back all the time. But in this case, it made the room more structured. It made for a nice little way to give us a sort of hallway without having to have a hallway because it was grouping this living room area and closing it off without having to build an actual wall and have it feel closed off. As I touched upon earlier, here you can see me putting all those empty picture frames that are going to be filled with photographs taken during the gameplay to make this place feel a little bit more homey and less styled in a sense. And I'm also giving this whole thing a color scheme. So the left side is with a lot of blue accents and some yellow carrying over, whereas the right side is with a lot of yellow and a little bit of blue carrying over, so that these two spaces, the cooking and the living section, do feel like they are their own spaces within this open floor plan, but they are still connected by the color scheme, just kind of reversed in a way. And yeah, that was the plan. Just have a few accents of both colors in both spaces. And I feel like this is a good way to subtly communicate different spaces in an open floor plan without really having to draw strict lines. It's a bit carrying over and a bit separated. Oftentimes, when you make it too matchy-matchy, in my opinion, it does become kind of an empty flowing space where it's not really defined. And this way you can have your dedicated spaces. I was very determined to find the perfect space for that shelf that looks like a house, because I wanted to draw the shape in from the windows and the rooftops to the inside. And I had to switch its position quite a few times to find the perfect space for everything else, because above all, it was important to me that this space seems incredibly practical and functional. We have many Sims living here, 3 generations, and there's about to be some chaos, some kid stuff lying around everywhere, and it needs to look properly functional, and it has to have a lot of family gameplay. So I also added the family board um, from the Parenthood pack, just so that we have more interactive space as well. And I also added the tooth cup for in the bathroom that is next to the grandparents' bedroom, so that potentially one of them maybe has dentures and has to take them out at night. I also wanted to make their room feel fairly traditional. Now that's also something I'm incorporating with the other grandparents. I am mixing modern influences with traditional influences. So for this set of grandparents, they are more traditional, but they are living in a modern home. So they are incorporating their traditional style into this modern space. Whereas the other set of grandparents, when I'm gonna build their house, it's gonna be quite different. They are living in an old house, and they have some furniture they took over from maybe their parents even, but they are fairly modern, and so they are incorporating the old with the new, rather than in this case incorporating the new with the old. It's kind of in reverse, and I had a lot of fun playing around with this, because finally with this pack we get a little bit more depth to the elders, especially in the clothing department. Before that, the elders looked very, very, very elderly, but that's not currently the style anymore. Elders went with the times as well, so yeah, I wanted to incorporate that, a kind of modern way to be traditional, or a traditional way to be modern. And this is the infant's room. I had lots of trouble with it because that was the room where the walls were glaring at all times, because no matter what time of day I said, the sun was just blasting into this room. So in summer, this infant is gonna get cooked. But luckily, Sims don't feel that. So I could just make this infant a cozy little room. I wanted this to feel semi-realistic in the sense that infant rooms are usually not incredibly stylized, because they're going to be infant rooms for only just so long, and then they're going to be kids' rooms. So I wanted this to be a kind of style that seemed changeable and to be able to adapt and grow with a kid, but still whimsical and infant friendly. Kind of the same with the kids' room. I wanted this to be fairly modular, modern in a way, for the child to feel like it has a cool room, but also it I wanted it to look realistically made up by the family. I didn't want it to feel like they hired somebody to design a totally stylish kids room, but that they maybe got together and they did some cool stuff for the kid. I wanted it to have a little bit of whimsy. I chose colors that are cute. And on top of that, a kind of nature theme, so that we have the candy colors, but also a nature theme to go with it, with the clouds and the owl and the trees. And I wanted this to feel cool to a child and not childish as per parents' definition, because the kid is not actually that young for it. So I wanted her to have a character in it as well. And I gave her the aspiration of being creative and also social. So I wanted this to be reflected in what she does. A creative but also open-minded and friendly space. The main bathroom, of course, had to have the new bathtub. I love, love, love this bathtub shower combo. We were so desperately in need of a bathtub shower combo that looks modern and also neutral and versatile enough to be placed in many, many homes. So this is probably gonna be my new go-to, not gonna lie. And I otherwise styled this bathroom to be the mirror bathroom to the downstairs bathroom, with the exception that I'm gonna add some wall decals here, because while the downstairs bathroom was mainly for guests and the grandparents, this one is also the one that's going to be used by the children a lot, so I wanted this to be reflected in it. And I added some storage and some clutter, because I'm me and I cannot build anything without lots of storage and clutter. This is the family computer. I didn't give them a dedicated office space because I didn't think this was going to be a dedicated office space kind of family. And already we have many rooms and enclosed spaces, so I didn't want to make this any further. The PC is next to the parents' bedroom, and I faked a little seating option for them under the cool new window. I just wanted this to look like a space where they could maybe hang and read something or play with a baby. And otherwise, I wanted this to feel like a modern, but again, very, very cozy space. So this is full of slightly comfortable and muted, but still bright colors. And it's not overwhelmingly bright, but it is friendly in nature and not too dark as well. And I used the new furniture for the bed and for the wardrobe with the kind of rattan material. This is also something I consider to be pretty warm and friendly. So this whole room is very inviting, and I can see them take the kids when they had a bad dream to their bedroom, comfort them. I also scattered a few of the toys just so it looks like they are also playing with the kid in the room. Now, my biggest pet peeve with The Sims is that they clean up all the toys all the time immediately. I hate that. I hate that so much. But at least when it's downloaded from the gallery, the toys are still scattered. And since this is mainly a family-focused build, I wanted the backyard to be very family-focused as well. So I also incorporated the kids' backyard stuff kit and gave them a little sleepover den, kind of, where they can sleep with one adult supervision, but have it to be a little bit adventurous. A lot of art the kids made, stuff like this. And I also gave them a sandbox. I don't know if you know that, but if you use the sand terrain color, they can actually use the sand. They can build sand castles and everything. It's kind of cool. So I wanted to have that in the backyard as well. I also gave them all bikes and a little bike shed in the front of the building. And in general wanted to make the outside space as inviting as the inside. In general, everything was supposed to be very much a space for the whole family to enjoy. So that was my main focus. I didn't use too much landscaping. This wasn't a whimsical little cottage or something. This was a very modern build, so I kept it straight with the plans. And this is the finished result. Let's tour it a little bit. Now this is the outside, and you can see that it's a pretty modern build, but it's not at all lacking whimsy. It has some unique features to it and some warm colors and woods. Going inside, we immediately have a full view of the whole family space, so it's very inviting to just be part of the family and do activities together, and the Sims are using the space accordingly. We have the living room sections to begin with, and then we go straight to eating and dining, which is a good transition that's natural to most gameplay. Next to the kitchen is the space to go outside, and everything seems very practical. Like you can sit there on the bench, take your shoes off and on, very fairly practical and real. Outside is a lot of space for the kids to play in, but also for, say, grandma to garden, grandpa to grill something on the barbecue, or the dad to build the tree house. They can all do their thing, but since the backyard isn't enormously large, they're still doing it together, even when they are spending times with their own hobbies. So the entire house, outside and in, is basically built for maximum family gameplay. Even when they don't want to play a game together, they're still playing in the same area. And upstairs is really no exception to that. Everything feels kind of open because the different rooms are kind of tickling out. So this is the kid's bedroom, and she's creative and she's friendly and social, so I wanted her room to reflect that. And her friendliness and creativity is also kind of tickling outside her room, because when you leave her room, opposite of that is a little bear fairy she made, and that's outside in the shared space and opposite of the bathroom, and the bathroom with all its whimsical decals, also very inviting. Same with the infant's room, that looks very practical and very much like the parents made it to fit the personality of the baby, but also be fairly changeable when it grows older. It has a lot of practical items inside, but also outside. This is the office space. It's right outside the parents' bedroom. When they do have to do some late night working sessions, they can do this without waking the whole family up. And this is their bedroom. This wall shelf there is gonna be filled with so many family pictures in no time. And in general, you can feel like the space is shared by all of the people. The infants, the grandparents, the children, the parents, they all have a space in the open shared rooms. And of course, they also all have their dedicated own spaces. So the next room we're gonna look at is the grandparents' room. The grandparents' room is closest to the door, and their traditional style is fairly modern in a way. It's not the kind of traditional style we attribute to the elderly, where we always say it's outdated and old-fashioned. They just found a way to use their traditional style in a modern way, so it doesn't look misplaced here. The downstairs bathroom has a focus on the grandparents and of course guests, so it's less family friendly, whimsical, and more elderly friendly, with a ground level shower. And yeah, that concludes our build. I hope you had a nice time. See you in the next one. Goodbye!